Hey, I'm Saint, and these are my random thoughts throughout the day that I jot down and then just look up and deep dive into. I'm calling them my field notes. Today, we're going to be talking about muscle cars and the era of the pony car. The pony car is just, it come out of nowhere. Before 1964, you had giant cars, your Impalas and stuff like that. There was nothing really available to the younger culture. Yeah, you had sports cars, but they was super expensive, unaffordable, right? So during the 60s auto market, it was cars were big, heavy, slow, designed for comfort. It was couches with headlights. They not performance. The performance was just bigger engines. Nothing, there was no other trim lines. To go from one thing to another, you had to buy an entire different car. You couldn't just upgrade it, right? And then at the time, you had these sports cars. They was expensive, they was very niche, low production. You had your Corvettes, your Thunderbirds, your European imports, not available for most buyers at the time of the pony car coming out, right? So you had a very big demographic shift. Your baby boomers reaching driving age, millions of young buyers wanting fun, stylish, sporty cars. Automakers ignored the youth market. Massive blind spot. It was a terrible decision at the time. But then you have Lee Iacocca. Lee Iacocca comes into Ford. He's their secret weapon. This is the beginning of the end, really. It's just it changed so much of the car market, right? He comes in and he attacks the young drivers. So young drivers equaled future profits. Need a fun, affordable, customizable car for the youth. Executives resisted. Like they did not want it, period. They said it was a giant waste of money. There's a ton of risk, and they didn't want to take the risk, period. So Lee Iacocca come up with a pretty strong strategy. He come in with low entry price. He wanted it to be like $2,000, $2,300. It was to be flashy. He wanted long hoods, short decks. Wanted a ton of customization to it, like colors, trims, engines, accessories. And then to keep the cost low, he was going to borrow parts from your Ford Falcons and other Ford models of the time, and to save tons of money. And he did. He used a bunch of parts from different cars. And the production was just, it was so quick. It had such a fast production timeline. It was, marketed a lot like a lifestyle product. Your music, your youth culture, he sold it as a lifestyle, not just an appliance. Some phases was done in semi-secret because leadership wasn't really keen for it, right? They wasn't really convinced of it. But in 1964 and a half, Mustang launch. It come out at New York World's Fair, expected to sell maybe 100,000 that first year, right? What actually happened though was 22,000 orders on the first day. The first day, people lost their mind, and they wanted it. They really wanted it. People literally slept in the showroom cars to claim them. Massive media coverage, dealerships, traffic was huge, and the overall result of the year was 400,000 plus sold the first year. Fastest selling car in U.S. history at the time. Provided the youth market with real and massive profits. And then the panic, the whole industry just trips out, and this really jumps off the pony car war. So I want to talk about the pony cars, but you can't talk about it without the Mustang. The Mustang was the leading edge to this whole thing, right? So the industry panicked. The GM sees these Mustangs come out, and they're just selling like crazy. They're selling, 20 to 1 it's wild. As somebody that runs a company, you can only imagine the panic of like, oh shit, here's this car that didn't exist, and then it comes out and just blows everything else out of the water. So Chevy's response was, your Camaros and your Firebirds, and then you have Chrysler coming out with the Barracudas and the Challengers. AMC come out with the Javelin. I really do like Javelins. I'm interjecting here. Javelins are cool. The front fenders that hump on them, really cool, right? But the shared traits of the pony car was the long hoods, the short decks. They was fairly lightweight. They had a very sporty design to them. Affordable base models, highly customizable, and they really, really focused on the youth of the time, right? Every company targeted the same customer segment, right? It just, that's what it was. And then a big seller of it was the performance trims. You had this major shift of performance become an upgrade package and not a separate model. Your moneymaker trims was really your GTs, your Mach 1s, your Boss 302s, your Z28, your Super Sports, your RTs. Like these are all, a lot of these models are still around today. These are trim levels that we still currently see, and it was really the leading edge of modern trim levels and modern car culture as a whole, right? Automakers had a ladder of trims, more revenue per car. Models strategically became standard industry wide. Like, you had your base models, and you would come into the Z28s and the Super Sports, so on and so forth, and it just upgraded as we went. But these again are modern equivalents to things that we have today. You have your Honda SIs, your Subaru WRXs, your M model BMWs, your Audi S and RSs, the Dodge SRTs. These all came from the trim levels of the pony car. And then this was a big breaking into like racing divisions and stuff also. Like, yeah, you had cars in races before, like NASCAR was already around. I'm sure there was other racing divisions in other parts of the world that I'm unfamiliar with. But, the Trans Am racing really exploded. That Mustang versus Camaro rivalry, just it blew it out of the water. I mean, it literally, that's when the words of win on Sunday, sell on Monday really come about. Huge boost to brand loyalty. Like everybody, all of a sudden you had your Ford guys, your Chevy guys, so on and so forth. And then movie and pop culture. You had, the Bullet Mustang with Steve McQueen. You had the Vanishing Point Challenger. Pony cars become icons in films and TVs. And then again, going back to the guys, right? You had these identities, these communities. It become tribal, very cultish at the same point. Like you had your Mustang guys, your Camaro guys, Mopar. Car culture become very tribal. That was a way to express yourself. And then the evolution of the pony car into your real muscle cars. Automakers started putting huge engines in small cars. You had your 396s, your 426s, your 454s, your Boss 429s, etc. Like they just continued to blow up and just more and more horsepower. You had teenagers, in a 454 muscle car making 400 horsepower. It was a wild time, and it come out of nowhere. One of the fastest arm races in car history cemented the performance culture of the 60s and the early 70s. And then comes the crash. And you'll hear this a lot in videos about any car of any time. You have the oil crisis. So the 70s hit harder than anything, right? You had the oil crisis, emissions, insurance rates went up, safety mandates. Performance dies in the 70s. Like, there's one or two cars that slipped through that was lied about, but performance really, really died. And what really happened was, because of the oil crisis and the emissions, it just disappeared. They killed the Challenger off, discontinued in 1974. The Barracuda's gone, the Javelin's gone. Firebird eventually phased out. Camaro literally dies twice. But beyond all of this, the king, the beginner, the one that jumped this whole thing off, the Mustang survives everything. It survives every error. It continues to be the only pony car that run from 1964 to today. It keeps the segments alive. It literally keeps the pony car culture alive, and has from the beginning. It's the father of time. This is what started it. But here's my, final summary, your key takeaways, right? Pony cars changed the auto industry because they made style and performance affordable. It gave young people their own identity. They was able to grab their own part of the culture of the time, right? Forced every major brand to innovate quickly. Like, they all had to come up with something different. It created the modern performance trim models. It built the Mustang, Camaro, Mopar fan culture to what we have today. If you ask any guy in America what they prefer, you a Ford guy a Camaro guy or whatever, they'll be like, oh yeah, my dad, which was born, in the 60s or whenever, growing up, he had a third gen Camaro. So automatically, I like a third gen Camaro. That just it's how it all started. And that's, again, we still see that today. It helped create the muscle car era. Like, it made muscle cars what they were. It's, again, like, we have hundreds of movies, hundreds of things just from it being muscle cars. It established a blueprint that is still used on modern car markets. Like, we still today, again, have trim levels. It made performance. Like, as of right now, the emissions just got pulled back. You have, Dodge slamming V8s back in Challengers. You got Toyota coming out and putting a V8 in a Supra. Like, all this would have never happened if it wasn't for pony cars. And then a large takeaway to this is the Mustang's longevity. It literally created it, and it's still here, and it's evolved. It's still winning in racing series. You got the Mustang GTD busting lap times. I don't know them right offhand, but 7-minute Nürburgring lap times. And it all started by Lee Iacocca saying, I want to sell cars to young people. But this is my field notes today. I'm getting off my soapbox. I hope y'all enjoy it. This is a new channel. It's a new thing. I don't know where it's going. It's not all going to be about cars. But nonetheless, like, subscribe, help me out. And I hope y'all have a fantastic day. Saint out.